This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. Many of us struggle with self-esteem, how we view ourselves, how we think the world views us. We don't really talk about that. Sometimes it's on our radar, but we kind of bury it. We don't want to really go there and really confront it. Well, we're going to confront it today, and especially for men. There's something that most of us men don't talk about, and this is why she's here, because that's her niche, and that's helping men pilot through their lives and feeling good about what they're doing and reaching their goals and their purpose. Yes, she's a life coach for men. She's Andrea Pineau, and she joins us. How are you doing?
I am so well. Thank you. How are you doing, Steve?
Doing well, doing well. And this is a big topic, especially for men, because we don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of masking going on, right? When we have high self-esteem, the mask can come down a little bit because we feel well about ourselves, in terms of respect for ourselves and the respect that we expect to receive from others, not being judged harshly. And if so, we're able to assert ourselves in those situations. And efficacy. So what I've just started to give you is the formula Nathaniel Branden has for self-esteem. Efficacy being our ability to, or our faith in ourselves that we can overcome really hard things. I give the example of a flat tire on the way to a kind of a big meeting or an exam if you're a university student, or can we take a deep breath, get on the phone, make some phone calls and deal with this? Do we have the confidence or the self-esteem in ourselves to know that we can overcome challenges? Loss of a job, getting laid off, say, how do we overcome that challenge? And do we know that we can, so that we can seek resources and that sort of thing? The other piece is confidence, respecting ourselves and expecting the same from others.
Confidence is a big one. And I'll be honest, I struggled with that for a lot of years. Now that I look back, like, why did I let things bother me? Why did I, and I'm not an overthinker, but I was like, well, why? Just do your thing, be good in your skin, and, move forward and reach goals and everything. But I probably,
it'd be that easy.
well, years, probably would have moved my life faster and more forward if I confronted that beast of confidence way back in the beginning. Yeah, for sure.
This is so hard, though. Some people don't even know that they lack self-esteem or confidence or the ability to take on challenges head on. Like they say, I think it is the buffalo or the bison that goes into the storm and doesn't run away from it, because they know if they go into it, they can get to the other side, or pass through it.
Yeah.
So that is what, when we have really intact self-esteem, our ability to go into the storm, take challenges head on, know that we can get through them, and know that it's okay to access resources and where to find those resources and supports, because everybody needs those at times. So for sure, the life experience you've experienced since back then has probably allowed you to understand yourself a little better and know that you can do hard things, and also know that it's not okay for people to treat you badly.
Yes,
if
yes,
you respect
and
yourself
yes.
enough. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how we bend to please others or keep peace, but it eats you up inside and you don't even realize it. You just feel off.
Yep.
You
You
don't
wound yourself. Yes.
Yeah. You know what? That's a great point. I've been hearing this a lot, that all of us are addicted to suffering in some way, shape, form, and we don't know we're doing it, but we're doing it because it's comfortable. And what do we all want? You know, we don't like change. We like to, whether it's good or bad, we just sit there and ride in that
Mhm.
suffering. And just what you said, that's what sparked it. That's part of the suffering. You know, you just bring it in, you wound yourself, you know, just because you think it's the right thing to do. Not for you though.
No. So when we can get ourselves to a place where we have really positive self-esteem, we can advocate for ourselves. So we assert ourselves, we live consciously. These are pillars from Nathaniel Branden. So living consciously, like being in your life, making choices on purpose, taking responsibility for things, accepting some circumstances, and then deciding how you're going to go about making necessary changes for the better. All of these things, when we're able to do them, um, it becomes less comfortable to live in suffering. You
Mm,
you it's not comfortable when somebody treats you badly. You feel attacked. You feel, and then you, because you live in your self-esteem, you assert yourself. And then you can make choices for yourself based on positive self-esteem. You know, that might look like confronting a partner and saying, I don't like the way you speak to me. You know, it hurts me, it hurts us. Like, what can we do about this because it's not right? Like,
mm,
you know, and now let's say they don't speak to themselves that way anymore either because their self-esteem is such that when they look in the mirror, they're like, hey, they're not shoulding on themselves. I should have done this better. I should have done that better. Instead, coming from a place of compassion, maybe I should practice a little bit, or maybe I can take a class on this, or maybe I'd like to improve on this. But it comes from a different place. You're not not a negative should, and instead a place of compassion. So when we do that for ourselves, we feel uncomfortable when people don't give us that same respect,
mm.
and we then treat others better too.
What's a good starting point? Is it getting in a quiet spot and maybe taking inventory? What do I got going on here? Even this week, what do I got going on? And just looking at scenarios and situations and asking yourself, how does that feel? And I'm actually doing it this week. Maybe it's the Mercury retrograde, which began today. If you subscribe to astrology, there's some reflection there. But I've got one situation floating out there, business connected, where it just doesn't support me. And I've put a
Mhm.
lot into it,
Yep.
but I'm looking at it and not seeing it eye to eye with somebody else, and discussing it, but maybe making change. Just a little side venture, but it's just not
Yep.
sitting right. Being honest,
Yep.
like just what you're saying, and other times I'd be like, all right, I'll just bend a little bit, but I'm like, I've done all,
Right.
I've given a lot, and there's a disconnect between the two of us. So it's like you need to fix that and some other things too. But it's really, I think it's just being true to yourself. But it feels
Absolutely it is.
sometimes it feels, lack of a better description, a little dirty. Like I'm just doing it for myself, or you feel guilty in doing it. That's another one where it's this is not right for me, but
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with that. But many of us think there is.
So I like when you said like a starting point is reflection for sure. Looking at where you are, and do things align with who you are, what you value? If they don't, do you wish to do anything about it? It's your choice 100%. But as a person who is aiming for higher self-esteem, integrity is part of that.
Mm,
And self um, responsibility. So if it's not aligning with you
mm,
and you choose not to do anything about it, you may be harming your self-esteem. Self-esteem, even if you don't know it, is affected by your decisions. The feeling of guilt and then not acting on it, um, may damage your self-esteem too. When we feel guilty and we do something about it, and then we feel better about ourselves, we raise our self-esteem.
Hmm.
So, in that reflection, taking a look at, are things aligning with your values? The things that don't, how can you have the hard talks? If you've been at this job for 15 years and you've loved it, it's been amazing, and the company got new owners, things are changing, and now it doesn't align with, you know, with your values and what you expect from the company you work for, it might be very hard, but maybe it's time to start looking for a new place of employment.
You're 100% right. And that happened to me. It
Really?
did. It did.
No
What you
kidding.
just, um, I was at the dream job when I was very young and stayed for 26 years. And
Wow.
things started changing and it was going in a direction and it was on air and it was a direction the company, I can be honest, they were going a little rude and crude. And that wasn't me. And it just started getting uncomfortable and it just, this is not feeling right. Like I'm the puzzle piece that's not fitting in here anymore. And explored some other things within the company, just didn't seem right. And a lot of soul searching, big deal after that many years, was uber successful in this position, especially toward the end. Like, it was at a high point. And after a lot of soul searching, Andrea, I woke up on a Monday and I went in and I said, Wednesday will be my last day. And it was like, I couldn't even
Wow.
believe the words came out of my mouth, but it just
Right?
felt so misaligned with me after all that time. And did go into a direction that I'm just not me. And a few years after that, they realized that that wasn't working in terms of rating and revenue, and they swung it back to what it should be, like a
Yeah.
station that everybody can listen to without it, your family and everything. But yeah, it's just what you said. It just wasn't feeling right, and I could have rode the train a little bit longer, but
Right.
it wasn't. It just
You
wasn't
took
comfortable.
responsibility. Yeah.
I get, that,
So,
I never even think of it that way.
do you remember what you felt like after? Like, did it feel like you just knew you made the right decision, even though it was probably scary?
Great question. So I it was scary in that I was worried about my kids were young, just born,
Oh,
and
hmm.
how am I going to support them? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Had severance, so that was all good. Had insurance, for a period of time. But the lesson learned there, and it didn't come right after that. It took many years after that. And here's the lesson I learned. Don't worry about it. It'll all come
Yeah.
together. But I was like, oh, well, what about it? I took a job that just, supported for a little while, but it was a big reduction in salary, and I just kind of settled, and I shouldn't have because of that. And what does it come down to? Fear. Ultimately,
Oh, so much. Yep.
that's what it was. That was what it was.
So when we talk about fear and efficacy, part of that self-esteem piece, when you feel really capable of taking on challenges or facing the storm head on or doing the hard stuff,
Hmm.
accessing resources, getting your supports, that takes a lot of that fear away. So in coaching, we call this course correcting. Like you were on a path, like a straight path, and then it got a little bit bumpy, so you opted off the path. You did it on your own. Some people, to take the fear out of it, will choose to hire a coach, and then they
Yes.
have that person that's not the voice in their head, that can present facts, like we can do hard things, and here's some resources, and this is, these are potentially next steps, and
Yep.
then you're there for them when they're, feeling that fear or that like that anticipatory anxiety of what comes next. So you did it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, but
Congratulations.
I need to say, if I back then was aware of people like you, and I'm not just saying that because we're here together, It would have been a game changer. I didn't even consider it, even like a therapist, just to bounce something off. And you're
Yes.
not a therapist, I get that, but just
Yep.
somebody to
I
bounce
know
it
what you
off.
mean. So you don't feel isolated. You're not
Yes,
stuck in your own head. Your fear's
yes,
not manifesting in the middle of the night. Like,
completely. And also an impartial connection because, yeah, you're not, maybe you got your partner, spouse, whatever, you got friends, whatever. They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
yep. Yep.
And
I've
that's not what you
always said
really
that.
need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hire your supports if you are able to, hiring unbiased supports that also have factual knowledge that they can present, and like I think we talked about this our first chat that, you don't get in the locker room the total truth about how many people are going through the same things. Everybody sort of feels alone when the masks are up.
Yep.
It's all camaraderie and laughs and shooting the breeze, and it's good. It's good to be in the, get out, be social. It doesn't always have to be serious. But that when you all separate and disperse and go home, not all of you are as joyful as you appear to be. And so people like myself or other professionals can give examples, and say, I know for a fact that this is something people go through, and
Mm,
here are ways they overcome it.
yep.
And so it gets them out of their own fear. And
100%.
you build efficacy too by every step you take, even creating a resume. They did it. That was something they maybe wouldn't have motivated themselves to do. The coach then is holding them accountable. So let's create this resume. That is a huge step. So it's tiny baby steps. As you do that, you grow in self-esteem, you learn you're a capable human being, you learn that you have transferable skills from your last job or strengths. Definitely strengths. I hope we can talk about strengths soon
Mm,
because everybody has them. They're all unique. And they certainly recognizing them helps in raising our self-esteem too.
yeah. The way that this changed for me, I had other changes come up after that, many years after that, pretty big ones, and piloted through. And that's where I started building that confidence, that resilience. And I feel, and I love your feedback on it. Once you start going through some major stuff and acknowledge it, like,
Mhm.
how the blank did I pull that one off? I got through that, and wow,
Yeah,
it's just a blip in the rear view now. Whoa, okay, and actually give yourself some grace and pat yourself on the back and say, oh,
for
boy, I
sure.
did it. You, it
Yep.
gets easier. It gets easier when the next one presents, and it will at some point. You feel that?
Yes, life is full of challenges. That's how we learn and we grow. And sometimes we first kick and scream. We don't want to have this challenge, but take your moment, kick and scream, and then rise to it.
Yep.
Yeah, and baby steps.
Hmm. What's the first step? Is it connecting with you and just kind of laying all the cards on the table, if you will, to find out where somebody
Sure.
is,
Yeah.
meet them where they are, let them realize where they are. They might not even know.
Yeah. So if somebody were to contact me, it's oftentimes when they do, the words they use are things like stuck. Like I'm just stuck, like I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. So we'll have a consultation. The consultation's always free, and we have a chat like you and I are having right now, sometimes online, sometimes in person. And so then I can present to them my methodology and see if it aligns with them. Only once so far has somebody been outside of my scope of practice. I could have helped them as a coach, but I would have wanted to do so concurrently with a therapist. But most of the time when it comes to practical in your life right now,
Hmm.
stuck, it's consultation. This is what we can do. This is how I work. Like, we have a session and then it's a accountability call midweek. And keeping track of progress, making sure we make that progress each week. And it is like, I think I've said this before too. It's so empowering to know the difference that I can make in someone's life just by being there and presenting facts and making sure they stay within the facts. So don't let your brain go crazy. Like, let's look at keep it in perspective. And then they leave each session feeling like, yes, I did what I was supposed to do last session. We're moving forward and I can do it this week. I can, make that next step. So it's a matter of making a phone call. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I have
Or
a
submissive
Post-it note.
form in my case. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your website, by the way?
It's www.lifecoachformen.ca.
Got it. I have a Post-it note over here. I wrote this down, and it's in line with what you're saying. Mind stronger than feelings, meaning work with the mind, not the emotions. Because once you go down the emotion road, the car is going to start swerving like all over and one of the things that I pilot by now in my life is just what you said, the facts. The facts don't lie. You
Yes.
can't, everybody can try and skew
Yeah.
them, but they are what
If
it
our
is.
self-esteem is not in, if our self-esteem is not high, we need to look only at facts because our ego lies to us. It tries to keep us in a stuck bubble because it thinks that's where we're safe. But
Mm.
sometimes safety is also includes growth and getting out and having some realizations and seeing some new possibilities. And so in doing that, we need to look at facts.
I love that you have chosen to work with men and help move their life forward and have these discoveries along the way. And we touched upon it briefly, but I want to go back there for a moment. Um, Sentence or two. Why do you want to coach men? Why do you do that?
After this talk today, these conversations don't happen with men. Typically speaking, I'm fine. It'll be fine. Fine is such a word. Oh man. I could
Yeah,
almost say it triggers me at this point because
yeah, I
it
get you.
right, it's so easily tossed around. I'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll work itself out. Don't worry about it. But there are things that they're just burying, and they've been doing that since they started maybe their first job at 20 years old. All those fears, all the things they were scared of, it's okay to have these hard conversations. It's okay to be scared going into things, but to have the help to push past it. Women have these conversations all the time. Like any get together, coffee, after sport, sit in the hot tub, anywhere. Women are always chatty about what's happening in their life. They're looking for validation, they're giving it to each other, that they're like they're the nurturer, I suppose.
Hmm.
So I want to give that space to men because it's not as available as it is to women.
Love it. And on the men's side, we don't know. Yeah, we assume women talk and they're a little more masked down, but we don't know
Mm,
to what degree. And I'm hearing it from you that women talk a lot deep about this kind of stuff and how they're feeling
hmm.
and their confidence and all of that. When was the last time a man said, how do I look in these jeans? Kind of rare, but a woman will always say, well, how do you think I look in this dress? Because she's bringing out her feelings of confidence or lack thereof. That's why she's asking. She's starting the dialogue. And of course, the worst thing a man could ever say to a woman, oh, you look fine. Yeah.
That
Uh,
word, fine.
yeah. Yeah. When
It's okay to not be fine sometimes.
when I hear the word fine, if you attach it to an acronym, I'm hearing, when you ask a man, how you doing? He's not doing fine if he says he's fine. And it's almost as if he's saying, fear it now every
Hmm.
day. Like he's in a fear mode, but he's not going to admit it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No,
Yeah.
there's a reason. There's something going on there. Um,
Mhm.
Thank you for doing what you're doing because we men need help, and I'll admit it, and I'll take it for every other man listening, watching. We need help, and it's all right. Life
I'm
coach,
absolutely here for that.
awesome. Lifecoachformen.ca. Always great having you on, Andrea, and looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you. You as well. Have a great week.
You weren't just fine today; you were excellent,
Oh,
and
thanks so
and
much.
I
I
mean that.
appreciate you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.